Welcome, you guys. How you doing?
Hi, Juan.
Juan.
Let me ask you a question. Is your last name a fake name? Most likely. Huh?
No, it's a
Artist
fake one.
name?
It's a nickname because I'm a Kiss fan
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
since I was 10.
Yeah.
Kiss was the band that introduced me to the world of rock and roll, and you keep absolute passion for that first band that introduced you in the world of rock. So
Good.
that was my
Excellent.
first band.
Good.
Gratitude forever for Kiss.
Fantastic.
Mr. Rolof Schenker, Klaus Mein, and Matthias Jabs, welcome to Radioacktiva. It's a great honor. I am a big fan since 1979. I'm going to be 58 this
Wow.
March the 29th. I'm an old guy, but I'm a rock and roller just like you, and I work at a radio station
Because
since
rock roll will never die.
rock and roll will never die. So let's begin with this little chat. Scorpions is going to rock the monsters of rock in Bogota once again, this time with Judas Priest and Europe, among other bands. Any surprises on the set list for this time?
Yeah, I mean, we are celebrating 60 years of Scorpions, which means that we go through the history of music of the Scorpions and try to like condense it all into the almost 2 hour set when we come to Bogota to play. And so we will play songs from the 70s, 80s until now. And therefore, we will play songs we haven't played 2 years ago when we were with Kiss on the road.
Okay. Uh, Rock Believer was the last Scorpions album with new music. Any new music on the horizon for the band?
We're so busy with touring that you need a moment, where it's time again for the band to join in the studio and maybe create some new music. But right now, this 60 years of Scorpion celebration will take us again one more time around the world, so many places. So it's not the moment to create something new, but maybe a song or two that might work, but not like an album like Rock Believer.
Think about that we spending our time of 60 years of Scorpions in the studio. That would be terrible. We have to party like crazy. Yeah. Yes. So that's the point. We want to enjoy with all the people around the world. Rock is still living and we are still living and we enjoying still and we love you.
We love you too, guys. This week marks the 46th anniversary of the Love Drive album, 1979. That was the first album with Matthias Jabs on guitar, but also with Rudolf and Michael Schenker. Any memories of that album with three guitar players?
I mean, I remember every little bit. It was my first album, so
Yes.
the first cut is the deepest, and yeah, great memories. I think with the release of Love Drive, uh, the Scorpion style changed to something that sounded much more compact, like more like the band was more like a unit, and that reflected on our success in the US, especially that year in 1979, where we toured like through all the big arenas, supporting Ted Nugent and AC/DC. And we played like, I don't know, remember like 3, 4, 5 months on our first tour, and it was very successful. So that Ted Nugent came to our dressing room and asked if we could turn it down a little bit because he had problems to follow.
And I remember also the Oz Fest in 1983 in San Bernardino, California was huge. Remember that concert?
Yeah, that was amazing because we were not allowed to use any special effects during our show since we were like co-headliner with Van Halen. And our tour manager, a British guy, he organized like some jets, some fighter jets to fly over the audience in San Bernardino, over the stage, over the audience. Like that was an effect when we came up on stage for the intro. That was hard to top, and even Van Halen couldn't believe it. It was a great moment, and I think we delivered big time on that show that day.
You rocked the house big time. The zoo with Matthias on the talk box was a memorable moment. I saw it on video. I wasn't there, but I was really happy. The 80s are a remarkable decade for Scorpions. Every album was equal or even better than the last one. You name it. Animal Magnetism, Blackout, Love at First Sting, Worldwide Live, which is a great double live LP album, and Savage Amusement. How did you, as musicians, manage to have such creativity in that era?
Playing into the United States, our dream was to play there because the United States were rock and roll pure. And we said every concert, every moment we played in front of Ted Nugent or in front of somebody, or later when we headlined and Iron Maiden was special guest, and the girl band was before us. We gave Girl School. We gave our best. We gave everything. And so in this case, we built ourselves the house of rock. So in this case, we enjoyed it so much, and we got inspired so much from outsides, from everything. Driving with a bus through the United States, it was unbelievable. What kind of things came to you? And there is also the zoo is inspired by
New York City.
Yeah,
it was like a rock and roll dream, and to be on the road in America with all those great bands from Aerosmith to AC/DC, Ted Nugent, we spent so much time on the road, but it was all what we ever were dreaming about, and it was so full of crazy moments. And when we came back home and we had a chance to write music, to write lyrics, it was all inspired by what we saw on the road, what we just lived, what we lived through, And so it was like a huge pool of creativity that opened up like a bubble. The songs were spitting out of this bubble because there was so much we saw along the road, and it was all brand new for us. We never seen anything before. To come for the first time to California, to come for the first time to New York City, it was all like emotional overkill.
The zoo was even composed on the roads, because I had found this riff, and I saw this helicopter flying and bank robbery down there. And yes, that was the kind. And in Atlanta, this what is the name of the hotel?
Peachtree Plaza.
Peachtree Plaza, and you see all the things, and then you go, and then you say, oh, what you played? Oh, yeah, great. And then I finished the song. I played it in the dressing room to Klaus. And Klaus, see, what do you think about this? Oh, not bad. So, and
when I started thinking about lyrics, it was like our management, when we came for the very first time to New York City, they said, come on, guys, tonight we show you our city. We take you out for a walk on the zoo. We said, what, animals? We go to the zoo or what? No, it's what we call 42nd Street in Manhattan. It's called the zoo, because it's so crazy, the nightlife, everything. And we took a walk on the zoo, and so this was like just to say what we all lived through, what we saw down the road, and those songs became the best songs because they were so authentic, they were so real. because the excitement
And
to
go to the zoo, you took this at the lyrics then into this because
Exactly. Yeah.
he said, yeah, that would be great. And then it came together. That's how things came together. And
I mean, 42nd Street, it's all those clubs, and all the nightlife, sex and rock and roll, and this was a good like picture to draw the zoo, where people might think we go to the zoo. No, it was 42nd Street,
There you
and
go.
it was the crazy rock and roll life,
Like we're going to visit a big city, so let's ride Big City Nights, for example.
Exactly.
that was different. That was different.
Olaf called me after a long party night in Tokyo, and he said, Klaus, you have to, before you go to sleep, you have to take a look out of the window. The sunrise is like that. It's like there's a fire in the sky over Tokyo, and this was the picture, like Big City Nights. There was also an amazing rock club in Tokyo where we used to go, where we hang out with all the other bands, and yeah, there were always places
Sparks.
where you are inspired so much. And when you came back home, our hometown, Hanover, Germany, West Germany at the time, then you started writing songs or writing lyrics. And because we had a date with our producer, Dieter Dirks, we had to go back to Cologne, to go back into the studio and to deliver a new album real quick because we wanted to go out on the road again.
It was a big time. Hard rock and heavy metal were kings in the 80s.
Yeah.
Do you believe there's any chance in the near future that the world will repeat an explosion like that?
Juan, this is the last question, okay?
Okay.
At the moment, it's hard to imagine. People have seen it all. When rock and roll started, like in a revolutionary way, it was something new to everybody. And meanwhile, it's hard to imagine that something can create such an explosion in terms of music. That's hard to imagine, but hopefully something new will come up.
Finally, will you do me a favor? Could you introduce yourselves and say hello to all the listeners of the radio station I work on, Radioacktiva or Radioacktiva, the Rock Planet, please.
Hi, this is meine.
Rudolf Schenker.
And Matthias Jabs
From the Scorpions. You're listening to Juan Kiss on what?
Radioacktiva.
Radioacktiva. Yeah.
Thank you very much, you guys. I love you. Matthias Jabs, you are one of my favorite guitar players of all time. Thank you very much for all the happiness you gave me through my life. I love you. Rock and roll forever.
Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.
Gracias, Juan.
Listo. I'm a happy man.